Hi, friends. So, I really enjoyed Earth Day and all the things that we did during Earth Week. It was so much fun. One of my favorite things to do during this time is gardening. And I know there's a lot of friends that are gardening right now because I saw some of your stuff and it loved your plants. And it got me thinking, I need to start planting my things. So I'm going to show you how to make a seed bomb, is what they're called. And you make them out of construction paper, some seeds, some water. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you all the steps. And I'm going to kind of go through all of it with you and show you what they look like. And then once they're dry, I'll take a picture of it and I'll send it to you. It's really, really fun. And it's also a great way to use some of our leftover construction paper. So I'm going to start off with two different colors. I'm going to start off with a green and I'm going to start off with a blue. And I cut up all the pieces into itty bitty little squares and triangles and rectangles and all different kinds of shapes for both of them. So I have all my pieces here. And then I have some warm water. So we have construction paper, warm water, and then I have a screen material, like a mesh, something that the water can go through. And then I have a hair tie because I don't have any rubber bands, so I use the next best thing. And then you're going to need a blender, a couple of bowls. You need your bowls for your paper here, but you're also going to need like a bowl or a cup that you can put your screen material on. So I'm going to show you how I do that now. So I have my cup, and I just have a NutriBullet, so that's what I'm using. And then I'm going to put my hair tie over my screen material. Make sure it's nice and tight. And of course, I'm having problems. It doesn't want to go on there. So you may need extra hands to help you with this. All right. So I got my screen material on there now. I'll move my rubber band down just a little bit further so I know that it's nice and secure on there. All right, so there is my new cup and my screen material on there. It's nice and tight. You're going to need a cookie cutter, a spatula, a spoon, and like I said, your NutriBullet, a blender, some type of machine to blend it all together. So we have our two colors. We're going to add some warm water into our bowls. Just enough that you're covering the paper and that all the paper is nice and wet. So it's just enough in there that all the pieces of paper are wet. So I'm going to let that one soak while I do this one here. Just enough in there so that way I know all the pieces get nice and wet. And then you got to get all the pieces off of you. And we're going to let that soak for just a little bit. And then once that's done soaking, we're going to go ahead and put it into our cup or our blender, and we're going to blend it up. All right, so I've let my paper soak for a couple of minutes now. I'm going to bring over my mixer and my cup that I'm going to put them in, and we're going to blend these two separate times. We're going to do the green and then we're going to do the blue. Now, if you're using just a mixture of a bunch of colors, then you can do it all at once, but I'm going to do two different colors because I'll show you why when we get to that part. So we're going to pour it into our cup. Make sure you get all of your pieces of paper in there. All right, and then I'm going to put on my base. This may get loud, so I do apologize if it's too loud for some of you. Make sure I get all the pieces of paper down off the top. All right. Let's move that out of the way. Get all the pieces down on the bottom. Have the lid on there a little tight. And I'm going to pour it back into my bowl that I originally had my papers in. I'm going to go rinse this out, and I'll be right back. All right. Now I'm going to add the rest of my paper in here for my blue, because we're doing it separate. Put my lid back on. Grab my blender. Blended there too. Perfect. Oh, where are my muscles? All right. So I now have my blue mush, and I've got my green mush. Whoop! I had a little spill there. Wipe that up real quick. That one's a little watery, so I think I'm going to go empty this one out just real quick. Get a little bit of that extra water out of there. We don't want it to be too watery, because then it'll be too hard for us to work with. So now we're going to take our mesh, and we're going to take our cookie cutter. We're going to put our cookie cutter right on top of our mesh like this. And you're going to take your spoon, and I'm going to do my blue first, because in the world, there's a lot of ocean. There's a lot more ocean than there is land. So I'm going to do my blue first. And I'm going to put it in there with this spoon. And when I'm putting it in there, I'm going to try and squish it down. Try and squeeze some of that water out. You can kind of see some water dripping down there. So we're going to squish all that water out of there. That there, all right. And now I'm going to take a couple of my seeds that I have here. And I got tomato seeds. And I'm just going to drop a couple of them in there. And then I'm going to take some of my green. And my green, I'm actually going to mold it in my hands because of how watery it is. I want to squeeze a lot of that extra water out of there. So I'm just going to shape it into a fun little shape. And I'm going to stick it right over where I had my seeds. I'm going to grab a little bit more green. I'm going to squeeze out some of that extra water. It's definitely going to be a messy project for you, friends. But you know what? It's a lot of fun. All right. Okay, I got it all in there. I'll show you it as soon as I pull it out of here. Taking my spoon in again, and I'm just squeezing out that extra water that's in there. And I want to make sure that my seeds are completely covered. So I actually need to grab a little bit more green and squeeze a little bit more out because we put way too much water in there. And we're going to put it right over that area. All right. So now I have everything in place and everything squeezed and flattened out as best as I can. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and take off my screen mesh. You want to make sure that you're holding on to your screen so that way it stays in place and it doesn't fall into the cup, because that would be a disaster. We're just going to slowly and carefully lift it off. And I'm going to take my cookie cutter off. Flip it into my hand so you can see it. And look, we've got a little earth heart. We're going to put it on some paper towels. And we're going to let it dry. And then once it dries, then you can go ahead and put it in your planting pot or wherever that you're going to go ahead and put it. But first, you always got to make sure you germinate them. And what that means is you got to make them start from their seed and create a little itty bitty plant. So sometimes we like to put them in paper towels and put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the window and start them that way. But this way, you already have them in the paper. So all you got to do is put them in a Ziploc baggie, add a little bit of water, stick them in some sunlight, and watch your plant start growing. Once it grows to a good amount, you take your little heart or your whatever shape your cookie cutter happened to be, and then you put it in your dirt, cover it all up, and watch it grow. I hope you guys had fun making this. This was a lot of fun for me, and it definitely got me started on my garden. Miss you, friends. See you soon.